Dear friends, welcome to the Wednesday Word on Wednesday the 3rd of June. On Friday night I was chatting to an old friend who's having part of her flat and garden redesigned to separate it from the house which it adjoins. She said that someone had produced a plan for the alterations of the flat and the replanting of the garden using AI. She showed me some astonishing realistic images of the finished design and what it would look like. This interaction put me in mind of another discussion I've been having with a member of our church who is a graphic designer, and she's concerned that she's going to be put out of business by AI. She's asked that the church should not use artificially generated images on our publicity. Well, I immediately thought of the architect and the garden designer who will not be used if my friend goes ahead with her AI-generated redesign. In the last couple of weeks, Pope Leo XIV has published his first encyclical called Magnificat Humanitas, which means magnificent humanity. And in this, he addresses these questions. Magnificat Humanitas deals with the opportunities and challenges of AI, but it's really about something much deeper, what it means to be human. Pope Leo argues that we're living through a transformation as significant as the Industrial Revolution. Technology is changing how we work, how we communicate, how we learn, how we make decisions, and even how we understand ourselves. The question is not simply whether these technologies are useful, but whether they help us to become more or less fully human. One of the most striking images in the document comes from the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11, where the proud builders build a tower without reference to God, so that we might make a name for ourselves, they say. Mankind has always been capable of astonishing achievements, but when power, ambition and technology become detached from God and from concern about our neighbours, the result is confusion and division, as happened with the builders of the Tower of Babel. To illustrate this, Pope Leo points to how AI is already being used in warfare, so that the effectiveness of killing is supplanting moral judgment. No algorithm can make war morally acceptable, he comments. In contrast, he points to the rebuilding of Jerusalem, a community of shared responsibility, mutual care, and common purpose. The choice before us, he suggests, is whether we'll use technology to build a new Babel or a new Jerusalem, a more humane and compassionate society. And this will depend on whether we see ourselves as not merely consumers, workers, data points or users, but as people made in the image of God. Our value does not depend on our productivity, our efficiency or our usefulness. It rests on the fact that we are loved and known by our Creator. Now this raises some important questions for our own church life. In a culture that increasingly prizes speed and efficiency, do we make time for each other, for relaxed interaction and genuine friendship? Churches can sometimes feel pressure to become slicker, busier, and more productive. Pope Leo warns us that workers are often forced to adapt to the speed of machines, rather than machines being designed to assist workers. But the kingdom of God grows through slower things: prayer, friendship, hospitality, worship, and patient discipleship. This will also mean making some difficult decisions about which means that even though AI could be of great benefit for some tasks, there will be some for which we don't use it, especially those which might harm other people or alienate us from each other. For example, the use of AI-generated images, which are stolen from designers without their permission. We're going to need to use great wisdom to use the gifts of AI well, without allowing them to shape us more than Christ does. We're only just beginning to think through these issues, but we are working on it as a church. We're working on a church AI policy and would value any suggestions as to what we should consider. In today's Wednesday Word, I put a link to a summary of Magnificat Humanitas, and I do commend it to you. God bless you today.